Hey, what's going on, everyone? Cardboard.Capitan here, and this is a deck I pasted from memory. I've been trying different stuff with the banning of Quarry Steel Cutter. This is one that utilizes the PuPu UFO. I've heard some people call it the PuPu UFO, but it makes sense. UFOs go pew pew, they shoot lasers. Well, in this case, this UFO, it does a lot. It's a 0/4 wall with flying, first off. Later in the game, as you have towns into play, it can turn into a flyer with power based on the number of towns you control, as well as helping you ramp up to that point through its activated ability. So, definitely a powerful creature. Now, in Alchemy, you have a lot of payoffs for blue-green. In this case, I'm using Ornate Imitations. You can also use Doppelgang, for example. You can also use Green Shell, and while I do use Green Shell, you can go take that even further by Doppelganging your Green Shell. So, I'm leaving some design space open for your experimentation. Play around with it. Alchemy isn't as scary nowadays. But besides that, you have some ramp spells. Spelunking's gonna put lands into play untapped, so a lot of your lands can come into play tap. So, for example, your Sanctum, your town here will always come into play tapped. Your Temple of Mystery. Now, you can use the Surveil land in this case, but for one, Surveil lands are rotating soon. Besides Surveil land, Spelunking's also going to be rotating, but this can be easily replaced with Vigorous Farming. And while you do lose that card draw, you still get that effect of having lands come into play untapped. You have plenty of lands. You have 4, 8, 12 lands to support the Pew Pew if you want to run that green-blue Balam Garden that turns into a vehicle. You can. But besides focusing on the Pew Pew, all your creatures work with Green Shell in that their toughness is higher than their power, so 4/0, 5/4. Vantasar, it doubles as removal for artifacts and creatures and regular creatures. Heavy card draw, stock up, one of the best in the format, as well as Travel the Overworld, excuse me. You do have a lot of cities or towns into play, and its cost gets reduced by 1 for each town you control. So you can possibly draw 4 cards for 2 blue mana. That's pretty sweet. Traverse Valley, that's just, it's kind of greedy, but it'll help you ramp up, because even though the card you seek out goes to hand, you can easily put that into play with either Pew Pew or Spelunking. You can change that to removal, maybe Bushwhack, but Bushwhack only fetches basic lands, so it's up to you. Besides that, this is a very tempo-oriented play in that you want to disrupt your opponent in the early rounds. So you do that through Into the Flood Maw and River's Rebuke, so that by the time you can use the mana you built up, then the opponent has to spend their time building back up again. Lands, I already covered that. Sideboard, you got the basics. You got Insidious Fungus, which works with Green Shell. It also destroys artifacts, enchantments. Main reason I'm going with it is because it gets around Torpor Orb. I haven't seen that too much recently, but it's in the format for 2 more weeks, so just look out for that. Ghost Vacuum, Graveyard Removal. It also, you can also use it to remove creatures from your graveyard and have them come back into play. Dream, Do, and Transfer, that's to slow down aggro even further, because 1, you get your 3/4 blocker, 2, you can stun some. 5 sideboard slots, it's up to you. I don't have a version I'm quite happy with yet. So, again, do experiment. Try stuff out. See what works, see what doesn't work. But you get a basic idea. Alright, enough yapping. Let's go to gameplay. Okay, gameplay time. I want to say this is from an earlier version where I'm just trying different versions. I don't recall if I have Doppelgang or Ornate Imitations, but I'm just trying the green-blue ramp, so if this isn't the exact deck list that I put earlier in the video, then, you at least get the idea of how a deck works. I do keep this hand because I have a lot of lands, I have the PuPu UFO, and I have Spelunking, so I can make... I actually think I could have went, whatchamacallit, turn 3 green shell there, but I'm just playing it kind of safe. Let's see, I think I've seen red, white, and black, so I do possibly have to worry about Porcine and Get Lost. So I'm gonna put the Fecund green shell there just to have some pressure on the board. Right now I can't do much with the UFO. I've exhausted my hand of lands I can put into play. But I do draw a Rantasar, which is, assuming the green shell lives, is gonna trigger that, as well as providing some removal here. I do have to worry about... Okay, so that's to Get Lost. I do have to worry about them getting a lot of cards off of the Spectacles of Destruction. But Mantisar can produce a Naturalize. And while I can also go Fungus here, I'm going to go Mantisar just so I can start beating face right now. Fungus into Stock Up was another option. Might have been the better option, since I haven't been playing lands the past couple of turns and opponents starting to catch up. There's a Get Lost, and that's going to trigger their Mayor. So they too have a bunch of map tokens. But at least next turn, I can stock up if I need to. I can also Fungus their other Spectacle of Destruction. I would like some towns, but right now I don't have too many. Alright, let's see what I draw. Ornate Imitations is a good find. I think here I should just maximize how much I can play. So another land, that's pretty good. No attacks, and next turn I can, well, rather, at the end of their turn, I can use PuPu UFO to put possibly Temple into play for the scry effect. So swinging in for 10 total? Yeah. Okay. Block 1. And then put land into play. Travel the World, it's a nice backup for Ornate Imitations, but again, no towns in play, so I've got to eat that massive cost of it right now. Imitations for 7. Now here I'm targeting their land, thinking that it's gonna permanently become an island, but I believe the wording of that card says that it's an island in addition to its other types. That's the thing you gotta watch out with Ornate Imitations. You're gonna lose a lot of time looking at the cards if you're not familiar with them. So, I mean, it's a fun card, but you know, the reading takes time, and I remember when it first came out, I lost a game trying to read the cards produced by Ornate Imitations, so you know, I guess my best advice there is while your opponent's doing stuff, take the time to see what your cards do. I do have to watch for the Sephiroth. Let's see. Opponent's playing defensive. I wonder if the play there should have been to have the whatchamacallit, that black and red card explore, so it would have been possibly a 6/7. I would have needed to double block. But we shall see. So off this overworld, I need to draw a Into the Flood Maw to answer that Sephiroth. I don't think I have anything with Death Touch, so that wouldn't answer any of their creatures, so I gotta draw 4 cards and pray, basically. I did hit an Adventurer's Inn, which is great, because that means I have 2 life now. So, Zolatiok, I wasn't too familiar with this card beforehand, but a key thing that helped me win here, creature cards, I think it's any permanent card, but creatures with +1 +1 counters on them will untap at the end of the turn. So I can only really safely attack with okay, they block. What I do have to watch here is Sephiroth, because they have the Sephiroth in hand as well as the emblem. So with both of those in play, for each creature they lose, I'll take 2 and they gain 2. I'm more worried about the life loss because I've got a board that can swing in for lethal next turn. Okay, so Sephiroth. Okay, nowhere to run. Okay. So by removing my fungus, I lose 2 life. And I think that's checkmate, because next turn, I'm a block here. Nothing dies. Yeah, so I can play green shell. Yeah, they just concede. But I could play green shell there and just swing in with my flyer. So yeah, looking at the sideboard now, this is when I had River's Rebuke in the sideboard. After playing with this a lot more times, I figured, hey, let me put Rebuke in the main board, because Into the Flood Maw by itself just wasn't cutting it. This is a very tempo-oriented deck, and you need to be able to snowball your advantages, whether that be your card draw, your land advantages, your presence on the board through Ornate Imitations. You need to be able to snowball that exponentially, and those tempo bounce cards help you do that. So my Onion Knight goes up against Terra. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep. Also worth noting, I did used to run Clifftop Lookout, but what I found were its stats weren't very impressive. I mean, it does work with Green Shell, but a 1/2 for 3 mana, just not enough, even though it does guaranteed ramp. Opponent might just have the nuts draw, as they say. So yeah, turn 2, Waystone, turn 3, Thunderkite. I'm gonna play a Lookout. PuPu UFO. I'm trying to get some sort of removal here. Yeah, pack it up. So that's 8 tokens. I'm a 10 life. I mean, that's the mobilized deck. It has its highs, it has its lows. I mean, they could have also gotten, I forget the name, but it's 3 and 1 white and instant, and yeah, they can put 2 copies of a card, with one of them being 1/1. I don't recall the name right now, so. So I'm going with ramp game plan again. I do have Into the Flood Maw, should I need it. There's Spectacle of Destruction. I'm not too worried about it right now. Okay, so key thing to note here, the opponent doesn't have any white mana. So while I could play another Clifftop Lookout here, I do want to be able to play lands. So I get my in as well as a Vantasar to be able to remove whatever they drop. Okay, so an Outrider. And no lands. And this is what I'm talking about. You want to snowball your advantage. So that's why I bounce the creature at the end of the turn. I'm gonna get another land out. Actually, 2 lands. I think stock up's more valuable here. Now I suspect the opponent's playing the Outrider again, so I mean no haste, so I can just Into the Flood Maw it. Okay. River's Rebuke is definitely game. So as you can see, I have 7 lands compared to their 3. Now, I'm doing some hard removal here, but also worth noting is it's gonna trigger the Spectacle of Destruction. So, now I want them drawn 2 cards here. There's 11 damage on the board right now. I gotta worry about them removing the green shell. And that's I would have removed green shell there just because it's off 1 turn from getting its maximum damage. So yeah, lethal. Bye. Goodbye, mobilized deck. So yeah, as you can see, the mobilized deck, game 2 it just stomped. Game 3 it got mana screwed. So again, high highs, low lows. So, with that said, thank you all for watching. You can find me on X under the username Cardboard.Capitan. You can find this Decklist on Moxfield under the username Cardboard.Capitan, where I'll be playing primarily Alchemy, but this weekend I qualified for being the top 250 for standard, so I'll try to put together a video for that soon. There's also another video I want to try to release before the end of the week, but real life, right? Again, comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Bye.